Do you ever find yourself digging through drawers and bins of toy parts looking for accessories for a specific figure, only to find something that you completely forgot existed? Well, for me, that was Tuesday. While searching for a cloak for a 3 3/4 inch Darth Maul figure we got off the interwebs, I happened upon this. And I knew I had to talk about it because no one else has. Now this is a pretty interesting figure. Some newer collectors may look at this and say, "Oh, that must be from G.I. Joe, right?"
Right? Wrong!
This is Agent Annika. She is a 3 3/4 inch figure of an original character made by a small company in the mid-2000s called Guru Toys. And you know they're cool, because they spelled toys with a Z. She is from a series they were trying called Spy Lounge, which, in doing research for this video, I found was going to be a comic book series. But from what I can gather, it seems to have not really taken off. It may have only been like a webcomic or something, but the site's down now, so we may never know. If I'm missing something, someone please correct and educate me in the comments. At any rate, they made a whole backstory for her and everything, and they made these figures as well. I won't get into her full lore here, but the TLDR is she's the leader of a super secret government defense organization called Sub-5, which apparently is an incredibly small team of highly trained special mission commandos that are well versed in multiple martial arts and the use with a variety of firearms. Yeah, it's pretty much just G.I. Joe 2, Son of G.I. Joe, but I find the concept interesting at least, and the figure is pretty nifty. Though being from the mid-2000s, it is admittedly a little dated in some respects. Now for those of you with a keen eye, the first thing you may have noticed are her absolutely massively useless hip joints.
Bruh.
Seriously, she's got 12 points of articulation, and these shouldn't qualify. They rotate 360 degrees. But for what? This isn't how legs move. If you move them any more than like 1/8 of a rotation in either direction, they just look weird.
My leg!
The other articulation on this figure is pretty normal and very vintage G.I. Joe-esque. The head is on a peg joint, so it can rotate 360 degrees, though it's limited by the hair and cannot look up or down. The shoulders are on a peg and hinge type joint, so they rotate 360 degrees, and they can move up about this far. Both arms have a bicep swivel and a hinge at the elbow, while the wrists are typical peg joints. There is a swivel at the waist. We've already discussed these monstrosities. The knees are simple hinge joints, and for the ankles,
Nothing!
the joints on these figures can become fragile over time. For instance, one of mine, the left knee is busted. The sculpt is detailed. You might find this hard to believe, but this figure is a bit top-heavy and has a little trouble standing up without the stand. With some patience, you can get her to balance.
Nobody move!
But that usually means she ends up leaning forward a bit like this, and is at the mercy of the smallest of external forces. You also have to be careful with the pegs on the stands, especially the little one, as I found they too can break, and we all know how much fun it is dealing with a broken stand peg. Paint is good, though limited. Solid one-color jumpsuit, skin tone for the chest, neck, and head, and black with a bluish-gray dry brushing for the hair. For the earlier releases, they did not do any detail painting on these figures. The paint apps on the face,
Jesus Christ!
well, they're definitely dated. Don't get me wrong, they look decent for being from the mid-2000s. You know, back when companies actually had to paint things. I'll admit there is a good likeness to the comic art with this figure, which I guess is what matters. We'll just put those sunglasses back on. There we go. Now I know what you might be thinking. What accessories does it come with? The Agent Tonicas I have are from the very first run, in like 2007 or something. She has this semi-permanent separate belt on her waist. She came with a, quote, HK MP5K submachine gun with silencer, a Sub-5 Agent pistol, which was apparently an optional accessory, one pair of Sub-5 Agent sunglasses, one tactical vest, which to get on you must first mercilessly rip off her head, slip it over her shoulder and neck, and then snap it up on the figure's left side. You can reinstall the head after that if you want. She also has one extra masked head, and this piece to turn her shirt into a turtleneck. From what I've seen, this is supposed to be worn with the vest and mask for maximum spyage. Now when this head and vest are on the figure, some say when you add sunglasses, they cooler the stick.
Right, stop that. Silly.
And if any of you wanted to find one of these figures, mint in box out there in the wild, she came packaged in the most awesome, carefully designed, ornate, most pleasing to look at packaging ever. A plastic bag. Yeah, far as I know, these were a built-to-order limited run thing. So collector stores and distributors had to order like 50 or more of each color, and they came in a simple plastic bag. Which is fair, considering they were a small company and made a pretty solid figure. Packaging does cost extra money. I'm not complaining at all about the packaging, or lack thereof, because toys are meant to be opened. In that first run, you could get Annika in 4 different colors: white, blue, red, and black, which I don't have. However, if you wanted a special one that was also packaged on a card, they did offer a very limited convention-exclusive gray version, which I'm sure you can find secondhand at a very reasonable price.
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness!
Admittedly, these figures are rare because they were not mass-produced. But you're not completely SOL if you're looking for one. For you see, fellow collector, Guru Toys still exists. Oh yes, you can find them on their website, guruplanet.com, where they specialize in distributing G.I. Joe toys. You know, I'm starting to see some resemblances here. Buried deep in their website, you can find the current releases of not only Agent Annika, who now comes with a black jacket and skirt, but also other suspiciously curvaceous female figures of the Spy Lounge's Sub-5 organization, such as Agent Nikova, Sarah Connor, I mean Spy Lounge contractor, as well as different Sub-5 troopers, which definitely don't look like the female version of anything we've ever seen in any kind of fictional media before. They also have other 1/18th scale accessories like firearms and clothing. And you want to know the best part? They fixed those god-awful hip joints! I should probably mention I'm not actually sponsored by Guru Toys or Guru Planet. To be honest, I just found it kinda cool that they're still around and they still offer this stuff. You may be wondering, what's the point? Why would I get one of these figures? And that depends. Some like Agent Annika for her big personality. But after talking to the man who owned the toy store these very figures came from back in the day, there were mainly 2 reasons collectors bought this figure. One was to go with G.I. Joe toys, and the other was for customizing. Which got me thinking about this figure's potential. So how am I gonna customize mine? Well, you'll have to wait for part 2. I can't give you everything all at once now, can I? You greedy bastard.
Well, Bye.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.